Folks, oh my God, JJ Peterka has been traded to the Utah Mammoth at the dawn of 11:30 p.m. This is an Emergency Crossing Swords podcast presented by Batavia Downs Gaming and Hotel. If you are at home watching, please comment along. Let us know how you're doing. Slick, thank you for reposting the stream. This is utter insanity. Sean Black, you're devastated. I agree. I think we all kind of assumed Peterka was on the move from the Adams presser, where he's keeping things close to his chest. All the birds chirping that we saw online from all the big names, and the Buffalo Sabres have actually traded JJ Peterka. They had his rights. He was an RFA. They still decided to move him, and I can't believe it. There's a ton of people in the comments, almost 1,000 people in the stream already. Thank you for tuning along. This again, Crossing Swords podcast presented by Batavia Downs. Agreed. This is insane right now. Distraught. I feel the same way. I put out a video a couple weeks ago saying I think it's a very dumb move for the Sabres to do this. I want to see what they bring in. That's the only thing keeping me up right now. Frank Saravelli throwing this out there like 20 minutes ago. Still no updates. If there is one, please comment along. I'm doing the stream, trying to look at the same time. Fourth overall pick has to be included. I have a friend with me, the one, the only, Bunty. The news just broke. What's your instant reactions while I kind of put through these comments because people are devastated? What are the details? We don't know yet. Keller?
Hey, it has to be a haul. It has to be a haul.
Sweating, Bunty. This is crazy.
I was just driving. I was in the pool for the last 2.5 hours. I just had 20 minutes of hot tub time, and I get back, and this is what I see. I've been waiting all day for this, and it
calls being arranged. It's happening.
It needs to be a haul. If it's anything short of a big time return for the Sabres, I will be massively disappointed. This is the type of move where, you're disappointed to get rid of him, but he is the highest demand player in the trade market.
Saravelli had him at 1.
Expect something back that will help this team significantly.
Yeah, so Greg, I think a lot of people are wondering what it could be. Saravelli just said the trade call is being arranged. It's actually happening. Once we know, I'll share it. My thoughts, my buddy Ryan Fugue knows the league very well. Sean Dursey, right-handed defenseman for Utah, plays a defensive game, could be great for Owen Power. They had to add on a little bit on top of that. The 4th pick Utah has. Buffalo doesn't want futures. We see rumors of a 3-way trade happening. That's way above my brain power to figure out what that could even look like for 3 teams. AJ, thanks for sharing. Sergachev, Keller, cool. Yeah, that'd be great. Gunther would be awesome. For Dobson. Bunty, there's a lot going on. We're almost at 2,000 people watching the stream right now. Thank you to everyone for watching this huge part of, Sabres' future. We're going to look back on this Kevin Adams trade and what's going to happen. He has the rights to JJ Peterka. He's going with his gut, his, philosophy that he wants guys to be in Buffalo to play for the Sabres. Talked about the presser. It seemed like this was all but happening. And I agree with Greg. A bunt hot tub invite. How much we got to donate to the Patreon to
Greg, Gatesy, you guys are always invited to the bunt hot tub. It's a great experience. Up to 104, good time.
Yeah.
But God, I'm on an adrenaline high right now, and I don't even want to speculate who it could be because there's a lot of different opinions. What I do want to talk about Peterka before we know what this might be.
Correct.
Is one, it's crazy that this situation got to this point to where he wanted out desperately. And number 2, I want to know, did he not like his contract situation in Buffalo? Did he not like where the team was headed? Was it the city itself? Because first thing I'm thinking, going to Salt Lake City is not an attractive place.
It seems beautiful, but yeah.
What have the Arizona Coyotes done in the last decade? That's the organization he's going to. Yes, Utah is a new city for them, but this is a team with virtually no history. So he's going from one team that has been awful the last 10 years to another organization that has been awful for the last 10 years. So I guess we can say a new start for him. Maybe Utah, he can hope for a little bit better future, but I don't really look at Utah and say, Good job, JJ. You just got a great team to be on for the next decade. I'm looking at it as you just went to another laughing stock. And if I'm a Sabres fan, I'm not reacting until I know what this return is. Because if they get something great in return, it would be absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. A guy that's unhappy, and let's be real, Peterka's defensive analytics were horrendous. He was one of the worst defensive players in the entire National Hockey League last year. And I'm not saying that is someone dissing him after getting traded. I've been talking about this point for a long time. Number 2, his shooting percentage, I think it was on 5-on-5, was something like 14.7%. That is an unattainable shooting percentage, which means his goals are probably going down next year unless he gets a significant minutes. And he was also a very poor power play player. And the numbers, advanced analytics show, it wasn't because the Sabres have a horrible power play. It's because Peterka hasn't been great on the power play. You look at Peterka's actual metrics and what he brings to the table, he's primed for a regression next season. And I'm not saying that because he was on the Sabres. Another thing, when you look at Peterka's expected goals for when he's playing with Tage Thompson, they're average. When you separate Peterka from the first line on the Sabres and you put him on the second line or the third line, Peterka's numbers go down drastically. You know whose numbers were pretty consistent no matter where you put him? Zach Benson.
Love me some Zach Benson.
The end of the day, you trade Peterka. What do the Sabres need now? Because Peterka's gone. You're going to need another top 6 forward back, either in this deal or when you trade Byram away. Mm-hmm. So don't look at just the return on this. It's about what do you get back for Byram and Peterka. And the second thing, Lindy Ruff, we all know he likes guys that have a two-way game. It's not just about goal production. The Sabres already have Tage Thompson. They have Alex Tuck. You have McLeod. You have Zucker. You have some other guys that have the ability to put the puck in the net. Norris. So you already have 4 or 5 20-plus goal scorers on the team. The Sabres will still be able to finish. They need setup men, and they need a second pair defenseman to go with Owen Power. If you can get stuff like that, you can easily make up for losing Peterka.
100%. I mean, I think that's you're on the same page. I'm on the same page with you. I'm sure a lot of fans were on that same point of, we have a forward, we have a defenseman, both RFAs who, up to date appear to be on the move, definitely on the move now. We basically want the same thing back, but tweaked a little bit. You need that defenseman for Owen Power. That's, I think, first and foremost. And then how do you fill in for that Peterka loss? So the combination of that, you have a ton of capital from your prospects. You have 1 million forward prospects. You have the 9th pick in this draft. You have future draft picks. Everything we're hearing is the Sabres don't want those futures. Thank God. Thank God it's not, we want some futures back. But having that said, it is, what's the return? I'm on the same page as, Josh Mooney here. Need a haul. Better than the other side of oh my gosh, we just traded for Evander Kane. I'm seeing a lot of Canucks fans comment online right now. But Bunty, it's been how long since it's been 33 minutes since the original tweet from Saravelli. I'm sweating if you can't tell right now. My hand's still shaking a little bit. Yeah, this is crazy. We have over 3,200 people here watching us see what the future of the Buffalo Sabres is going to look like. And appreciate everyone for staying up. It is 11:30 here on the East Coast to see what the Buffalo Sabres do. This is the Crossing Jordan podcast presented by Batavia Downs Gaming Hotel. And yeah, folks at home, comment. We've had 1 million people here talking their thoughts, how they're feeling. Let us know your initial thoughts here, because again, we don't know what that return is. We're just kind of stuck in limbo. But Saravelli said that call's happening, so we're there. We just need to get over the finish line of these details. Yeah. Crazy, Bunty. I just got home as well, and
I'm going to tweet this out too. I'm going to ask our fans, people watching, what do they hope the return is?
Yeah,
I know you said the 4th overall pick. That's
there.
You wouldn't think about, but would you be against it if they could? That is a high enough pick where that could be something that would intrigue me.
Yeah, if I knew what was going to happen at the end of the day, there's just so much wondering. I don't want to pick. I'm gonna put my foot down. Like I want something now. You have Tage, you have Darlene in their prime. What's drafting James Higgins a couple picks earlier going to do for you? Or what's drafting at 4th? I know there's some great big defensemen here who play physical. There's some bigger forwards as well.
What if the 4th pick was something they were picking up as part of another deal?
Perfectly okay with that. I saw stuff on lines of like flipping that for Dobson, like whatever that is. But if they're flipping it, I would be okay.
Think about it. Yeah,
I just need to know. I need to know that.
If the Islanders if they want Higgins,
yeah, exactly. What Matt's saying. Thank
what
you,
they need is the 4th pick. Then you flip that 4th pick to the Islanders, and maybe you end up getting Dobson or somebody.
Awesome.
In return. So this might not even be the big one. Who knows? Obviously, this is going to give the Sabres a big haul regardless. But
shout out Labatt too.
We're not going to know the full picture of their offseason based on this trade alone. We still have to wait on the Byram move and then to see what else could be in the cards.
And we're at over 4,000 people, Bunty. This is
in 12 minutes.
I know math guy, went to school for comms. That seems pretty good. And I appreciate everyone here trying to see the craziness alongside with us. Appreciate to everyone commenting. Hunter wants to keep the 9th pick and get the 4th. I mean, the weird thing about this offseason, Bunty, and the Hunter brings up, it feels so weird because there's so many big players potentially on the move. You see Peterka there, Robertson down in Dallas. Sorry, every time my phone goes off, I panic to see if it's Frank tweeting us.
I am with you right now. Part of me is like, I need to get my patented tweet out with like a couple pictures saying like, are the Sabres better? They give up JJ, they get so-and-so and just see the reactions to that. But this is more important right now. I'm glad that you started this. I didn't even know that you had a live stream going already. As I went into the driveway, I saw it on Twitter. I instantly ran to my laptop and I'm like, I am joining Gatesy because I don't even know if you knew I was coming on the stream.
No clue. I was like, I sent to break the 4th wall to the 5,000 people here. Again, mind-blowing numbers. We sent a text like someone's got to go live here. Put it in. And then thankfully Bunty's here because it's always good to have company on these. But Bunty, for all the people who are, I mean, it's more than just Fox 87 here, more than a ton of people that might be upset already before we hear anything back. Understandably, fans have the looming thought that this is going to be the fleece job of a century. This is going to be the darkest day. We look back on what's I don't
get that because
tell me about it.
Trades in recent history, the Sabres have gotten fleeced on. Like, please tell me. Like, there's this. I get hating the Sabres organization. I get being upset with Kevin Adams, everything that's going on. But
talk about this for a second.
Yeah, you can go.
So why would the Sabres trade Peterka? I think that's a lot of things I'm seeing as well. Is why are they doing that? Bunty, you want to hop into after this? But Kevin Adams has talked repeatedly. He wants guys to be here. Whatever way you want to think, that seems to be a big process of how he's trying to build this team, quote unquote, change the culture, break this slump. As you need guys, he believes you need guys who actually want to be here. He said, I'm going to try to say it verbatim at the presser yesterday. He doesn't think it makes sense to pay guys extra who want to be here. That for me seemed like the Peterka being gone. So we'll see who's coming back if they even want to be here, Bunty. But yeah, go ahead on the trades real quick.
Yeah. So why would the Sabres trade Peterka? Now, this is pretty obvious right now why they want to trade Peterka. It's because their hand was forced. That's why they're trading Peterka.
Even though he was an RFA.
He was an RFA. Now, the Sabres had two options. He wouldn't reach UFA status for another 4 years, which means they had all the leverage in the world. But this also kind of indicates that Peterka really did want out. Alan Walsh, his agent, was feeding Saravelli and all of these other insiders information, which means he was actively playing his cards to try to get out of Buffalo. Now, I thought the Sabres could have played hardball, and I would have been fine with them playing hardball. Me too. I honestly think that's something that they need to.
We have a trade. It's in. Sorry, go ahead. I'll get it pulled up in a second.
No, I'll
I was
wait.
just panicking. I think it was Dragger who just tweeted it. Friedman. And I'll pull it up on screen real quick. If you want to fill this dead time.
Kesterling and Josh Doan. Kesterling is who Sabres fans wanted.
Yeah. 3 players, no picks. Okay. Let me pull up their EPs real quick, just so fans can get a better understanding. Interesting. Okay. Sorry, folks. The dead time right now. This is okay. No picks involved, so we don't have to think about that 4th pick. Are the Sabres going to do more of that? Okay.
The fan reaction is going to be awful.
Well, regardless, yeah.
But Kesterling was one of the guys that people that were paying attention to the Sabres and what they were talking about during these moves. Kesterling was at the top of a lot of people's lists.
Okay,
so we can't just say, oh, Kesterling and Doan. They have a guy that's probably going to be one of their top 4 defensemen now, and you got Doan. Is it a great return? I'm not going to say it's super exciting, but we have been talking all offseason about how defense was the number 1 need.
Right-handed defenseman.
And you just got a guy, a right-hand D, who's a solid defender. 82 games last year, 29 points, a +4, 21 points the year before, +11. Doan is going to be a 4th liner on your team, if that. Not really much offensive upside. So this move is mostly for Kesterling. And people could say, what a joke. What are you going to do?
Doan's only 23 as well.
Yeah. People are never going to be happy with anything, regardless of what they did. What have we said all offseason? Even in the earlier part of this show, we said it's not about just this trade. It's about what do they get back for Peterka and Byram. If they trade Byram later on this week, and they get a top 6 forward, then you're looking at you got rid of 1 defenseman for a better defenseman in your top 4, and then you traded a forward and you got another top 6 forward back. This is not about necessarily having a better talent team in front of you. It's about having a reshaped team. And that's what fans have to understand. This is about changing the locker room, changing the culture. Lindy Ruff has alluded to several times last year that the culture he inherited was not what he thought he was taking over. And it was clear he was talking about a few players when he mentioned that. He was talking about Dylan Cousins, he was talking about JJ Peterka, and he was talking about Matthias Samuelsson. And we can all freak out from the outside, but what does Lindy want? He wants 2-way players. JJ Peterka doesn't play defense. And yes, he's a good player, but he is not a guaranteed 80-point player going forward. And we can all say, oh my God, they gave up so much and they got so little in return. When you're talking about a forward for a defenseman, you can't look at point production. They're playing 2 completely different positions on the ice. Kesterling is a fine defender. The Sabres got something that will be helpful to them on the defensive side that they need. What do the Sabres need? They need defense. Let's stop talking about goal scoring. The Sabres are one of the top 5-on-5 goal scoring teams in the NHL over the last 3 years. What has that got in them? Nothing. He'll have 90 points last year. I'm sorry, Julian. All the metrics say that you're wrong with that. Every metric says you're going to be wrong on that. JJ Peterka shot 14.7%. He had one of the highest shooting percentages. That is not a sustainable thing going forward. He is a heavy rush player who does not do well on the power play and plays 0 defense. Peterka is great, but there's also a reason the Sabres didn't want to give him long-term money.
Yes, I agree with you, Bunty. Just got the graphic out, so folks, please go. Oh my God, there's a ton going on in the comments. I'll get to that in a second. Yeah, please go. Everyone here, all over 7,000 people. Maybe toss a like on that tweet after putting that graphic together on the fly. Yeah, my initial thoughts, Bunty, were I was a little unsure.
It's a great trade. I'm not.
Yeah, the more I look at it,
I hope people aren't saying like, "Oh God, Mike's just defending the Sabres." Like, I'm not like saying this is what I wanted back, but people got to stop acting like when you're trading a guy like Peterka that you're going to win the trade. 100%. Teams are trading for Peterka because they're trying to buy.
Yeah, the more I look at Kesselring too, like I've done a little bit looking in this time here, the more I am liking it. And I think, I mean, all things considered, there's a couple names floating out there on Utah, but I personally did not have Utah on my big board of where Peterka could be going into this. So the fact that it's here, it's happened. I think the Josh Doan thing is fun too. He's 23 years old. He had how many points last year? I mean, he only had 19 points in 51 games. But, I mean, that's a guy you can bring in. I'd rather have, maybe him in the lineup compared to what we saw in the fourth line last year. Depth never hurts. But the Kesselring pick is big. The biggest thing, Bunty, we all talked about this offseason, is the Sabres need a D partner for Owen Power. They have their guy. This is a guy that looks like he's good on the back end. He put up some decent points as well. Stick alongside Owen Power, and this is going to be a great thing for the Sabres. I hope. Obviously, we'll see when it all comes together, but the initial reaction isn't despair. It isn't anger. It isn't, this is fucking terrible. But obviously, neither of us want to see JJ Peterka, out the door. But this is the situation that, the team was in. I think all things considered, Bunty, on this, it's, Peterka's gone. He's the number one trade asset right now, or I guess was the number one on everyone's big board on who's going to be moved. Their Sabres were selling high on Peterka, which, again, I think fans hate seeing the Sabres develop a kid, get him to 23. With a lot of things you said previously of his defensive aspects, a lot of those areas that might not see that next level shooting percentage didn't look like it was at a sustainable pace. We'll see what happens. He's a fan favorite. But yeah, just like Josh said, with Middlestat, obviously all fans think the players here, you latch on to guys, you see their absolute best moments, you think that can be them forever. I think we're going to see some much needed help on the back end from this trade. The Sabres have a million forward prospects who have slightly taken that jump to the NHL last year. We'll see what happens this year. But Bunty, how are you feeling while I kind of get the rest of these posts out on Instagram and Facebook?
I mean, overall, I'll keep you up, Gatesy. Sorry, Gatesy. I'll keep you up on this. You don't need to respond. I just hate having the solo screen when my mind is trying to figure out my thoughts right now. I don't love it. I'm not in love. I don't know if you're trying to talk right there, Gatesy, or not. You're on mute. But at the end of the day, they were never going to get the perfect return for this. We have to wait and see what they get back for Bo Byram. Kesselring is not going to be a player that is going to excite Sabres fans. He is a good player. He probably does not have the highest upside. Like some people think that Peterka is going to be this amazing stud in the future. I guess as a Sabre fan, I need to see how it all plays out because we do all of this in overreacting when we make moves. A year ago, everybody thought the Sabres made an awful move when they traded Middlestat for Bo Byram. And Byram was the better player of the two in the deal. Middlestat was awful last year. And everybody talked about how they gave up their leading goal scorer for Byram and that Byram was awful analytically. Why are you doing it in overabundance? And you know what? Byram had a good season, and he actually has more value now than what Middlestat had. Everybody thought Savoy for McLeod was awful.
Yes, that's a big one.
Adams for that. And McLeod ended up having a 20-goal season, and he was a very good Sabres player this past year. So I don't want to kill it. I think the most important thing to this Sabres team right now, it is not talent. It is shaping the culture of the organization. Fans go, they see the stats, and they like Peterka. I am telling you, behind closed doors, the Sabres did not feel the same way about JJ Peterka that fans did. And I know people are going to be like, well, you developed him and you're growing him. Well, know what? They also see what his work ethic is on a daily basis. They also see him playing 0 ounces of defense. He is awful without the puck. And you know what? Yeah, I know it's going to be tough. It's tough when you're giving up a 68-point player. The Sabres score goals with or without Peterka. They have Tage Thompson, who has 50 goal ability. You have Alex Tuck, who scored 36 last year. You still have Zucker. You have McLeod. You have a bunch of guys that have the ability to put the puck in the net. You have Kulik, who has 20-plus goal potential. You have Benson, who has 20 goal potential. They might be adding another top 6 forward at some point here. What if they make a move for Marco Rossi? Are we going to be complaining as much about the top 2 lines if they have Marco Rossi on the team? Everybody is acting like Josh Norris isn't on the Sabres. You know what? I understand he has injury concerns.
I forget about him all the time.
Such a joke that is, too. Norris is a guy that's had a 30-plus goal season in the NHL. And yes, does he get hurt often? Yeah. But he still plays 50-plus games the majority of his seasons in the NHL. We need to get over the fact that offensively, they know how to put the puck in the net. What they need to do is learn how to not allow pucks in their own net. And this is a vital step in trying to get there. You just solidified your top 4 by bringing in a guy like Kesselring. He is a good player. He is young, and he has the ability to get better. Is he a dynamite player right now? No. He's 25 years old. Pardon me. So we're not talking about a guy that is very old, but we'll see what happens. And some people are saying Peterka got an extension. Good for Peterka.
Yeah.
I mean, if he got the money he wanted, if that's what he wanted, happy for him. But I am just done with all of this, like, hating, like, on everything the Sabres do. I don't know what you're doing the LMAO right here. You see the 4% EV defense right there. That is horrendous. And you know what? I'm tired of Sabres fans.
He's also playing with,
Peterka is, you see his card. He's a good player. He is not a stud.
Plus minus also isn't indicative on defense. When you're playing with Tage Thompson, you're playing with Kulik, you're playing with top guys. Like, I mean, you get a minus for doing a line change a second earlier than someone else.
Solutions. You're using plus minus when we literally have advanced metrics showing him in the 4th percentile of all NHL players when it comes to defense. Like, you're not going to win using plus minus in an argument when we have advanced analytics right in front of us.
Let me see if the extension is out yet. Julian, we're still waiting on the deal. Last week from Friedman and Saravelli was the extension's in place. That was probably the initial hiccup, if I had to guess, after waited 40 minutes for the final. But yeah, we don't know years or amount yet. So I think that's going to play a big thing too. If we see Peterka signed for a long-term deal for a lot of money, I'm sure fans will probably change their tune a little bit. Deal is not announced. It's one place. Yep. Thank you, Zach. People online aren't happy, but again, Bunty, you said it before. The McLeod trade, same thing. Like, there's only like 4 people on this planet who I think can really give, a good accurate assessment of this trade off the get-go. And they're, these people, insiders who are watching every single game 24/7. And we don't know how these players are even going to play once they get to the Sabres, once they get to Utah, and they're on these different lines and these different environments. They're doing all these different things. They get a huge contract extension. All everyone's talking about now about this trade, what have these players done? What do we think they will do? And the great thing is, tonight, no one knows. I'm going to be under the impression I want to go to bed happy tonight. It's midnight. We have almost 8,000 people here. I'm going to find the positives in the Kesselring. I think this is going to be a great thing for Owen Power. All we have talked about is we want that rock for Owen Power defensively. We want someone that can be there where he's not rotating through a bunch of different guys. Nothing's working. He can take this big step this year, offensively, defensively. We saw Rasmus Dahlin. He was a liability in his own end early in his career. Now he's the Sabres' best defender. bringing in a guy like this can help that with Owen Power, in my opinion. He's not going to be able to carry his partner like Dahlin can, but bring this in is super important. I appreciate everyone commenting along. I don't think I can go through them all fast enough, but Bunty, anything new that you're seeing, that you're feeling right now? Because this is crazy, and I'm breaking a crazy sweat right now. Really need to get an air conditioner.
Just nothing crazy. Honestly, it's just trying to absorb and kind of get my thoughts together with all this. It's tough because your initial reaction when you give up a guy like JJ Peterka is that it feels underwhelming because you're hoping for somebody of the same name quality back. But we really got to see what happens in the Byram deal. And I really don't want to be that guy, but I really don't think the talent level of the Sabres is what holds back the Sabres. I think the Sabres have enough talent to win hockey games. I think it's more so the culture and the mix of how they play on the ice. And most people look at stats and they get that's what excites them. They see 68 points, they see the 27 goals, and that's why Peterka's a fan favorite. Management sees a guy that doesn't play a lick of
100%.
They that's what they're watching. And when you see the Sabres lose game after game after game because they blow leads and they can't hold teams down, they can't do anything right in the third period.
Oh wait, Josh.
They needed to get better defensively. So I understand defense isn't sexy. It's sexier to talk about goal scoring and offense.
It's like drafting offensive linemen. How
did the Sabres win games with Ruff in the late 90s? And I'm not saying that hockey now is the same way as in the late 90s. They played defense. They played defense and they had goaltending. And you know what? Everybody acts like the Sabres only won games in 05-06 because they had Briere and Drury. Let me tell you in a little secret. They had guys like Tony Ludman and Henrik Talander. They had a lot of Tempo Numminen. They had talented defensemen. They had good defenders. You need to be well-rounded in the NHL, and the Sabres have not had that aspect of their team. Yeah, Power and Dahlin are fantastic defensemen, but you need to have a well-rounded team. And honestly, AJ, I know you're my man. That's probably the dumbest thing I've ever seen right there. Incoming 40 goals season. You know, for his shooting percentage to get to 40 goals, he'd have to shoot like 20%. like, dude, does nobody look at his metrics? He had one of the most unrealistically high shooting percentages to get to his 27 goals. Unless he's shooting that again, he's going to have a regression. You're on mute, Gatesy.
Thank you. Yeah, I unplugged my mic. Laptop was dying. Extension is out. JJ Peterka signs with the Utah Mammoth, 5 years, $7.7 million AAV, so $38.5 million total. Interesting. I thought with Utah it would have been a bit longer, a little bit more. I think that's you want to say a good contract for Utah, but I guess he gets his number as well. 7-7. Interesting. Yeah, I don't hate that for Utah. I mean, that deal feels very Kevin Adams-esque as well. Get your 5 years. It's not that full 8. Yeah, I agree, AJ. Great contract. Tyler, $100. What are the odds for Utah to win the cup? 5 years, 7-7. Thank you, Zach. Shout out Newman and Slick. Rather trade. Jared said I'd much rather have just trade the first round pick for a player of Custering's caliber. Yeah, I mean, that would be great. I think all fans are on that same page of the 9th pick is just arbitrary at this point. Like, yeah, it's great. How many more first round draft pick forwards can we care about to see, hopefully develop to get to the NHL and then move on from him? I'm under the impression I'd like to get some help now. It feels like with this trade, that's the case as well, where you're, like Bun said, this isn't a sexy pick. This isn't like a sexy guy bringing it. It's like an offensive lineman. You're going to, maybe not see the benefits directly if, you're just watching casually, but I'm, a firm believer that a pick like this, a guy like this, can hopefully elevate the Sabres in ways that people are very frustrated with all of course the last season defensively, Owen Power in front of the net, stuff like that. So I'm hoping we can get there. With that, I agree. Contract does kind of sting. I was really hoping to be this huge contract for a long time and just like feel good that we didn't have to pay that. So the fact that the Sabres couldn't get there unless, do you think
it's one of two things?
Less?
One of two things. Either the Sabres really were very concerned about his defensive effort and how much he fit with the team, or Peterka wanted no part of being in Buffalo. A 5-year deal is very interesting because it gets him to UFA status and just 1 year beyond when he would have been a UFA anyway. So basically, Peterka's saying, I think I'm still going to be really good when I'm 28 years old. I'm going to bank in with another big contract at that point. We don't know if Peterka was even willing to take that in Buffalo.
That's the thing. He probably took less to be in Utah.
Peterka could have easily gone to the Sabres and been like, I'm not signing any long-term deal with you guys. We'll see how it plays out. This is not Sam Reinhart to me. This is not Jack Eichel. This is, to me, this is more likely to be Dylan Cousins than it is either of the first two guys I mentioned. I don't know why we act like when they signed Dylan Cousins to the long-term deal, we're like, how are you guys so stupid? You rewarded him off of one good season. But then you compare Dylan Cousins to JJ Peterka, and you realize, like, oh, they're really not completely different. Dylan Cousins had a 68, 69-point season with 31 goals. JJ Peterka, 27-goal season with 68 points. Like, I don't know why we act like the Peterka is this stud. He's a good player. 80 points, like, he's going to have to be a first-line player. And I don't think people realize advanced analytics say he was worse with Tage Thompson than what Zach Benson was with Tage Thompson. There was other players on this team that made Tage Thompson look better than Peterka.
Yeah, I mean, his highest point total here in a season is 68 this year. If you look back to last year, he was a little over, half a point a game. And it's
I like the guy, but
agreed.
And I think that 7.7 is going to be something that he's going to be earning and deserving. Like here's the thing about Peterka. He's a skillful rush player who has a great shot, but his power play analytics were horrendous. Defensively, horrendous. What do the Sabres need to get better on? They need to get better defensively, and they need to get better on the power play. Those are two areas that JJ wasn't helping them at all.
Yeah. 100%, Bunty. I agree with you.
And I like it, JJ. I would have signed him to that contract.
My brain just shut off for a second. Like that's the thing is, I mean, I've seen a ton of comments in here from people like Christopher, like where JJ is unironically special, which is true. It's that off the rush. You look back to the kids line. I mean, rest in peace to the kids line. Who would have thought Jack Cohn would be the lone survivor at this point of that line? But so much of their success when they were finding things came off the rush. When that disappears, that's when we saw Peterka go, games without points, or he'd be a ghost a little bit. Feels very much like a player who, when it's on in terms of, the puck going in the back of the net. So we'll see if he can get that in Utah. Also, shout out Anders Bjork, forever a favorite in my heart. Bunty, I don't know if you remember this. I feel like I put out like a bet during the season that I would learn German, something revolving Peterka. I don't remember what it was, but
you don't need to worry about that now.
Yeah, I don't want to think about it.
Let's also say this about the Sabres.
Yeah,
when they had that 91-point season, they were third in the NHL with 293 goals.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how many goals they allowed that year? 297. So when they were third in the NHL in goals, they were -4 overall. Then not this past season, but the season after that, they had 244 goals, but they were a +1. They allowed 243. That was the year UPL was really good.
Yes.
Then last year they allowed 265, and they scored 265, and they allowed 287. What is the takeaway from the last 3 seasons of Sabres hockey? 3 years ago, they let everybody play freely. They didn't care. The Sabres were a high rush oriented team. They could put the puck in the net. They scored a lot, but they couldn't stop anything. Then the last year under Granato, they realized that is not sustainable to winning. We have to play better defensively. And what happened? Their plus minus actually got slightly better, but they couldn't score enough. So their less exciting brand of hockey led to lesser results. This year, they tried to get a little bit more tempo back. They had a little bit higher finishing rate. They scored more, but they didn't play defense. Ideally, what you're trying to do if you're Buffalo now is still score in that 260 to 270 area, but limit the goals allowed from 287 to 250 or 240. We talk about how bad the defense has been. Like, not Dahlin, and obviously Power struggled last year. What you're hoping is that with the right defense partner, that Power can take that step forward and you can maximize what he is as a player. You assume that anybody with Dahlin is going to be good. So essentially, by getting rid of Byram, you're going to probably bring in another defenseman to either go on the third pair or go on the first pair with Dahlin. And then you're hoping that your defense core as a group takes a step forward and that the forwards are going to be more defensively responsible. There's a reason why the 90s Sabres and early 2000 Sabres won a lot of games despite not scoring a lot of goals. They had guys like Mike Peterka who could play both sides of the ice. They had defensive forwards. You can win hockey games with not having the greatest show on ice. If you're defensively responsible, you do your job, you can make life suffocating for other teams. The Sabres haven't ever done this in recent years, but it's clear part of their cultural problems last year was that Lindy Ruff was demanding better results out of the defensive side of the ice, and half the young players were like, screw you, Lindy. I'm looking out for my stats. I'm looking out for myself. That's why Cousins was traded. Cousins was traded because it became obvious to the organization, this dude is not learning. He is not doing any of the shit we're telling him to do. And that's ultimately part of the reason why the Sabres probably didn't want to give Peterka the long-term money. They looked at it as a risk, and they were afraid of what he was on the one side of the ice. Now, I'm not saying it's right. If the Sabres were a good team, they wouldn't have to worry about Peterka on the defensive side of the ice. But when you have an upset player combined with a team that already has a cultural problem, could they have played hardball? Yeah. But what if Peterka doesn't show up? What if Peterka then doesn't even put full effort in? Then you're just having a disgruntled, upset young player on the ice being a horrible example for his teammates.
And then you're stuck with he's an RFA, so some team could offer sheet him a crazy contract that the Sabres either have to match and only get first-round picks back, or they have to sign this crazy contract with Peterka. This kept it where the ball was in their court. I know people are asking on something of Byram. I think a lot of it depends how organizations view him. I think us as fans, at least in our eyes, don't view him as highly as – I think there's got to be another GM that sees what he did with Dahlin. I think have that impression that we see, some of the big talking heads say that, GMs think they can, fix some Sabres players. They can, unlock what was once there. Not that Byram's bad, but he struggled away from Dahlin. That was kind of a big point with that. Just going through the comments now. A lot, again, thank you to almost 10,000 people tuning in to watch talk about the trade from JJ Peterka and Bunty. I know a lot of people are upset. They think this team is a train wreck. They think, what could be wrong? If you think the Sabres are a train wreck, we have a great thing for you here on the Trainwreck Sports Etsy.
I should have worn it.
We have dad hats. We have shirts. We have everything. Trainwreck Sports on Etsy. Use code. We have a code CS Pod. That is CSPOD. CS Pod, 10% off. Also help myself and Bunty out a little bit. But yeah, we have this beautiful hat you see here. We have, logo hats. We have a little bit of everything. Head to Trainwreck Sports on Etsy. Take a look. Got some fun stuff there. Speaking of fun stuff too, a little plug for Friday. We have a huge, massive draft spectacular. Myself, Bunt, Vinny, maybe some guests. Who knows? Friday, be there. We'll talk more about this. Bunty, what do you have on mind?
The only thing I'm really thinking about right now is if this is the return the Sabres took, then teams really did try to lowball Adams.
Bunch of Rangers fans out there with these. We'll give you some garbage for Peterka. I mean, this isn't a trade I'm mad about, but to think he's the top guy and this is what they took is, you're right, Bunty, speaking volumes.
Yeah, like I wish they would have gotten more. I'll say that. I wish they could have gotten more.
Always.
I can't freak out because I understand what they're trying to do, but I wish they could have gotten more. But
I wish.
It is what it is, and ultimately, what are they going to get back for Byram? We'll probably find out in the next couple of days, I would imagine. But I don't know, Gatesy. It's one of those where I have believed in some of these young players for the last couple of years, and obviously it hasn't come to fruition. I find it ironic and so a lot of this is deserved because obviously the team has sucked and they don't deserve the benefit of the doubt.
100%.
But I find it ironic that for a fan base that shits on ownership, management, coaching, and the players, that whenever they trade a player, it's like, oh my God, we just got rid of somebody that is that's amazing. It's like, if they're so amazing, then what are they doing on the crap that is in Buffalo? Like Eichel and Reinhart, I understood that. But it's not like all these players Buffalo is moving on from are gods and they're great players. Peterka's a good player.
Yeah,
if he played anywhere else besides Buffalo the last 3 years, he's not getting first line minutes right away. 100%. And he's not putting up 68 points. He's putting up 68 points because he played for a shit team and received opportunities he wouldn't have received elsewhere. We also have to we got to react to that contract extension too. $7.7 million going forward with the cap going up. And this is why it would be disappointing from a Sabres fan perspective. That is not like 90-point production. You're paying for like 65 to 70 points for that type of money with the hope that you can maybe get a high side of 80. We'll see what happens. Ryan O'Reilly also, he wanted out, but Ryan
lost his love for the game.
So there's so many different situations with each of these players that were drafted that I hate.
Situations are situational.
So like Ryan O'Reilly wanted out, but he didn't want out because he hated management. He wanted out because he hated Jack Eichel and he hated that guy was getting the reins to run the team.
Yes.
Omar wanted out because he thought the team sucked and he hated the situation in Buffalo, putting up good numbers, but the team not winning. Eichel had already made it clear that he probably wanted out because they couldn't build around him. Reinhart was the casualty of you didn't extend him soon enough to a long term, and you're paying the price for that. And he realizes Eichel's out, and he doesn't want to be the lone guy left on the boat. The Peterka thing is really the one that I kind of have a problem with. I'll be real with you. I have an issue with the Peterka thing because he's 4 years away from UFA status. It reeks of entitlement. Yeah, he's not okay with the situation on the team. That's fine. You know who also has been with the team a lot longer and had to deal with worse shit? Tage Thompson and Rasmus Dahlin. Yet they're professionals and they deal with it and they put up with it. Now, how much longer? I don't know. But it's kind of bothers me that a 23-year-old feels that way at this point. And I'm not saying that you can't have that feeling, but sometimes it's called paying your dues. When I was in TV, I had to pay my dues. When I signed a contract on a team or a contract with a TV station, I had to finish out the contract. And if I wanted out, I had to pay my contract out early. There were certain rules and certain things you have to apply by. Sounds like Peterka had first sign of success. He was like, I want what I want. I don't respect that. I really don't respect Peterka in the way he handled this process. I thought it was unprofessional. And I know people are going to kill Buffalo regardless because they've been a joke organization. They're going to blame the organization. I honestly, I would have been fine if the Sabres were like, you know what, Peterka, screw you. We got your rights for 4 more years, and we're going to make you stick it here, and you're going to have to live with it. But if you're the Sabres and he ends up sucking, he ends up not producing, and he ends up being a crybaby, you probably get even less of a return. I get why they took what they got now, but the whole situation does kind of suck.
Speaking of grumpy Bunty, Christopher, not a big Tuck guy. I mean, Pierce in the presser, like especially after Peterka being traded, Tuck is next to be extended once they kind of figure that out. I think he's going to be here for the long haul. I don't think that's ever going to be changing. In terms of Doan, he's someone that I think really excites me because, I mean, he put up, I forget what was it, 23 points, something like that. Not a ton of points. He's 23 years old, same age as Peterka. If you put him alongside Tage Thompson, you're putting along these top guys, how many points is he getting? Probably not 68 last year. But, you know, it's a guy you can hopefully add some depth, maybe some physicality in there too. Let's go Buffalo. I mean, Bunty, we went from a dead stop of Sabre stuff to this. We have Byram news in the near future, the draft Friday, you know, free agency starts July 1st. I hope you enjoyed, you know, the week off you had between the Sabres and the Bills because we're going back again. I mean, we got Eichel psyops in the comments. Saboka's still available.
This trade could have been JJ Peterka for Noah Dobson, and we still would have had people complaining in the comments.
Yeah, I mean, Peterka should have been traded for McDavid. I think Adams dropped the ball. He should have brought in McDavid and Draisaitl for the German winger. But yeah, I mean,
and Byram is definitely getting traded for.
100%. He was the one of the two. I was like, certainly now, especially. I mean, we're just getting some great names. Torrey Mitchell, Torrey Mitchell might be the most obscure name we've got in the chat tonight. If anyone can top that, please.
And like, here's the thing too. It was reported earlier tonight that it is already believed that Byram is very close.
Yes, good point.
And the fact that Adams yesterday refused to address JJ's situation means that Adams, and they've been talking for weeks to people since the scouting combine and probably before that, tells me they probably already knew the Utah trade was likely to happen. They just had to finish up a few things, and that Byram is probably very close to happening too. If they know what they're getting back for Byram, and it's a forward that they think is taking over Peterka's spot, then you just have to look at it like that. Like, I'm not saying they're getting anything great in return, but like if we found out they're getting a forward that's a 45-point guy who's had 17 goals last year on the third line, and that they're suddenly going to be the Sabres second line, like I'm not going to hate that. I know what I need more from the Sabres. I need a team that has balance.
Yes.
The Sabres have had too many skill guys.
The Thanos meme.
Who are finesse, who are finishers only. And I know Norris's injury history, finisher only. So they literally just traded for a guy that doesn't add playmaking. But
I'll start looking at him.
I need variety on this team. I need more balance. I need skill guys. I need physicality. I need setup men. I need defensemen that might have offensive upside. I need defensemen that have the ability to be shutdown defenders. I need defensemen that might be physical. Give me a wide variety of skill sets. That's what I want. Because when push comes to shove, how do the Sabres respond to teams that can shut down their main thing? They can't.
That's the thing.
So that is why I need variety. And that's why most hockey teams aren't just all exclusively skill guys. That's why you need your Sam Bennett's of the world. That's why you need a variety of different players. Jay McKee never brought many points on the Sabres defense score, but he was one of the Sabres' best defensemen for a decade. Why? Because Jay McKee was good at playing defense. Like, yeah. I don't need fancy guys. I don't need skill guys. I just need guys that are going to play good, winning team hockey. And I'll be real, I don't think the Sabres really have had many guys that have been team-oriented players in the last decade. And, yeah, a lot of that is culture. A lot of that is not having experienced veterans, talented veterans too. Because I don't think having Kyle Poso is really making your team better. Like, no
100%.
offense.
100%.
Like, yeah, good guy. People like him. I don't give a shit if people like your 34-year-old veteran. I need more Zuckers. I need a guy that has some offensive ability, but also willing to mix it up a little bit to lead by example and speak on behalf of the team and represent the team in the right way. That is what the Sabres have lacked. So I don't know. I still need to see how this all plays out.
100%.
Am I picking the Sabres to make the playoffs right now? Definitely not. But
where's the fun?
I'm willing to see how this all goes down.
100%. And I mean, you talk balance, and that, I mean, perfectly sums up the past 3 years of the Sabres where, it's all offense, no defense. They're winning games 7-6. Then last year, or the previous year, defense steps up. UPL plays out of his mind, and just couldn't get that extra goal scoring. Last year was just, kind of that same thing where they're unable to get that defensive posture back. And I think a move like that will get there. And, hockey's more about, is not just about strictly scoring goals. You look at the Florida Panthers, they're really built from the back out. You have great forwards, but they're great in their own end, and they play the game the right way, which, is obviously more important in the playoffs compared to an 82-game season, but they have the skill on top of that. And yeah, the balance is a big thing. We'll see what happens with the Byram trade. But yeah, if this is what
lets them do with the money, because Kessel's not getting paid much, this allows them to go after a goalie now.
Or we get another Jumbotron. I don't know about you.
When we were doing all of these mock off seasons, and when you would see different guys around Sabres Twitter do the mock off seasons, most of them neglected goalie, because the thought was if you're trading Peterka, you're going to get a haul in return, which this is not the haul I was hoping for. But the thought was you were going to get somebody significant back that would also carry some salary. Now you're not going to get a massive salary guy back in return for Byram, most likely. This might indicate the Sabres might be trying to bring in a 1B in net to go along with UPL.
I think the Adams presser is a good thing too, where, people are upset with the presser. I think this trade kind of, puts in perspective to me that he was, there's one thing about the Adams presser is, he'll just talk. And he talked about goaltending, and it gave the impression to me that they're going to bring in a third. He said, it's up to Levi. It's not, he didn't say, we're running UPL Levi, but he said if that's where they're at, they'll do it. It seemed like the same conversation of like, he's doing other things with leverage. There's some goalies available. I can't remember the name in my head, at least free agency wise. Like, they can do something similar where you bring in not so much an older guy like a Reimer, because that was absurd, but a guy that can challenge these guys. Because the Sabres, they can't have another season of what they had in that this year. It's really kind of make or break for Luukkonen, really make or break for Levi as well, if he can make that jump to the NHL level. So I think maybe bringing that guy gives them that even bit more urgency to get that job done. So that's what we have here. I'm kind of going through here. Goalie and calling playoffs from AJ.
Shut up, AJ. AJ is totally trolling us right now, so I'm not going to even take that seriously.
He's one of the nearly 11,000 people here trolling us. More Jumbotrons. Jake Allen.
The Demko news, it sounds like
I don't like them. Knees scare me, Bunty.
You know what the thing, too? Goalie is such a here's the thing. I totally agree the Sabres need better goaltending, but I also struggle with, what is the right move for goaltending? You already have $4 million plus invested in UPL. So if you're going to spend on somebody that is a $6+ million goalie, you're going to have $10 million plus invested in two average goalies. For goalie, I still like a cheaper veteran, to be honest with you.
Anderson was so much fun.
Yeah, I'm not saying Reimer again, but we saw at the end of the season alone just what a good veteran goalie can do for the team. They won games with Reimer because Reimer was actually stopping a puck. Now, there's two ways you improve things in that. One, you play better in front of your team. So getting Kesserling, that probably will help power. So one way, you just play better defensively. And another way, you have your forwards get back a little bit. So it doesn't just have to be the defenseman. If your forwards play a little bit better defensively, that can help your goalie too. And you see Peterka gone. So metrically, they just got better defensively by this move, more than just by getting Kesserling. It's also addition by subtraction on that side of the ice with no Peterka there. And then second situation, sometimes you just need your goaltending to step up. Like goalie is like running back in the NFL. From goalie 6 to goalie 26, there's very small variance. Like goalie 7 and 8 probably isn't that much better than goalie 23, 24. Maybe they might have better stats, but it's really probably more indicative of what team are they on? What organization are they on? What type of style do they play? Do they play defense? Do they not play defense? But goalie 1 through 5, that's a goalie that can win you a game. But you're going to have to pay a lot of money for those type of goalies. And then the goalies 27 to 32, like those are the guys that probably lose you games. Unfortunately, the Sabres have been in that bottom 5 category more seasons than they probably should be. And when you look at a UPL, what are the chances that a $6 million goalie stays at that level versus a guy like UPL bouncing back up to that middle ground? It's probably pretty similar percentages. So the reality is you just sometimes have to hope that UPL takes a step back up. And then that's why I prefer the cheap veteran, because if you got a cheap veteran who has some ability, you're probably already getting a certain floor to begin with. And then that can at least be some competition to push UPL forward. So you're not going into a year being like, is Levi ready to step up? And if he's not, are we screwed again?
Yeah. And I think, the thing with UPL is the difference between his season which was very good, and this most recent year. And I guess even before the years he's bad, he's way too aggressive. You kind of see people talk about it, but it's true from every perspective. He moves way too much. He's, too far out. He's, just over aggressive on plays. The year he was really good, he was in his post, contained. Like, this is something that can be fixed. It's not like, goalies, guess goalie is a little voodoo, but it's not this crazy voodoo thing where there's kind of hope and pray he returns to form. They need to actually work with him, slow things down, bring it under control. And I don't have any concerns of UPL returning to being a good goaltender again for the Sabres. It's just whether that happens. There's a couple things always certain in life. Jacob Bryson will forever be the Sabres' 7th defenseman. We can be having this podcast 40 years from now, Bunty.
Would you care? Like, I know fans love
not a care.
I don't care what my 7th defenseman is. Like, if I'm playing my 7th,
I have not thought about Bryson in about 3 months. That genuinely not a name that's even popped in my head.
Don't even think about it. But people talk about it. Like, it's a big deal to people.
Yeah, I do love getting in the weeds with Sabres lineups.
The Sabres had Rory Fitzpatrick on one of their Eastern Conference Finals teams. Like Rory Fitzpatrick was like the 7th defenseman. So like even great teams have crappy 7th defenseman.
Yeah. The 7th D is it's more fun. Like I think there's always guys that fans have their heart on, just for fun, that really don't have too much of an impact. If your season's defined by your 7th defenseman, that is not good. But Bunty, we've been going over an hour here. We just eclipsed the 11,000 marker. I can't comprehend that. I've been fully sweating this entire time. No air conditioning. We've gone from the Positivity podcast to the I've been sweating for an hour on stream in front of 11,000 people podcast. But this has been a lot of fun. Do you have any other, closing thoughts on the Peterka trade, where we're at now? We're going to be live again this Friday for our huge draft special. Any closing thoughts that you're thinking, or do you just want to, go until 4 a.m. tonight talking about that?
I'm fine going to 4 a.m. My computer might die before that point. And I'm off tomorrow, at least until like the mid-afternoon. So I can honestly carry this all night.
I got work early, but I'll cross that bridge.
But
Julian, this is the biggest night for us, I would say. 100% for me. I don't know about you, but
the biggest or the second biggest. There was one crazy one earlier in the season. I think it was late in the season that
we had a Montreal game. The Sabres were getting their ass kicked.
Yeah, that was like the 7-1 or 7-0 game. So
Even then, I think it was like 7. Or,
you know,
I don't think it was 11.
I just got a comment because it just came up. You know,
shout out Joseph. Shout out Joseph.
If this is the final straw, like credit to you. Like this, like honestly, that
good on you.
Honestly, like my point is like if you're still watching the team and invested up until now, like why let this end it for you? Like really, like this is the final straw. Like trading JJ Peterka is what ended it for you. Like not Eichel or Reinhardt or any.
It was the Anders Borg trade for me. I was done after they got rid of him.
Like, it's fine to me. Like, I feel like if we're all at this point, like, you just learn to suck it up and like laugh at it. Like,
I mean, it really.
I've been done, but you know what? I respect.
I agree, Joseph. Yeah,
you've been done, but you're still watching, so we appreciate that.
That's really most fans, though. Like, it's.
You know what? I guess my reaction is, I know we're all just joking with you. I know we're having a good time here. It's after midnight. We're all a little loopy, having a good time. But I guess my thought is this indicates Kevin Adams and the Sabres taking a different approach to trying to build a winner. Now, do we have faith? Hey.
Sorry to interrupt you, Bunty. That just made me laugh.
You know, it's a great comment based on.
That's for you.
Gatesy, you know the tweets I put out. I started. I don't even know if I'm allowed in Sunrise, Florida after revealing those TV
most wanted man.
No, like seriously, like I got so much hate tweets my direction after that. I had a tweet that got I think close to 800,000 views with 700 plus comments, and I think 650 of the comments were basically telling me to go F myself. Or some people were mentioning my chin and how I'm some obese fat man. I'm like, I mean, I might be a little chubby. I don't think I'm obese by any means, but the Florida fans were reckless.
I got it. I got you here.
Yeah, let's get that tweet up.
Share this tab. Here we go. Getting warmed up for the big Friday stream. Here we go.
Oh, so this is this is one of the two. So there's
another one.
There's another one too. If you go around that same time. So this one was funny, and that was when it was one of these with the quote right next to the guy in the rain. I think
this one.
One beneath it. It might have been.
Yeah, I got you.
Let's see if.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Almost so both of these tweets went off. So you can see this one got 780,000 views and over almost 800 comments. And you get 800 comments on a tweet. That's how you know people really hate you. So that first tweet brought up how they had a 3, and a 3.2 in their local TV ratings. And believe me, they didn't know how TV ratings work. I had people trying to explain to me how TV ratings work, not realizing that I actually worked in TV for 5 years as a sports anchor. So a TV rating is not the population of an area. It's how many households have TV in an area. So if you get a 3 rating, that means that only 3% of the households that have a TV were tuned in to the game and 97% weren't. Then you have a share, which is the percentage of TVs that are on that are watching that channel at a given time. And people are confusing those. They're hating me. They're like, this isn't scientific. This is made up. I'm like, it's literally posted in the Miami Herald. So if you don't trust your big local paper, that's on you.
Hey, shout out journalism.
And I guess everybody in Sunrise was at a bar or watching on illegal streams, because that's what they were saying was the explanation why we had our lowest Stanley Cup final TV ratings.
Well, you don't know this, Bun. Miami's the only place that has bars with TVs and also legal streaming. It's a crazy.
Yeah, nowhere else in the world. Believe me, that was a fascinating thing to look up. And then the other funny one was that the Buffalo Bandits local TV ratings on the CW in Buffalo were higher than the Florida Panthers Stanley Cup Finals TV ratings on TNT in Miami. And I had Alan Pergament, who's with the Buffalo News, tell me, well, that's not really that amazing. You're kind of taking things out of context. I'm like, Alan, I know. It's
supposed to be NLL, a league that averages 7,000 fans a night.
It's technically, this was all kind of like a joke post, but it still technically is a fact. I know that there's more people in the Miami market that includes Sunrise and Broward County than Buffalo. I know that CW is a public channel while TNT is a cable subscription channel. But here's the thing. The Stanley Cup Finals are massively marketed, advertised. Everybody in hockey knows where they're at. And yet, in that community, they got a 3.2 rating. They're fighting for a championship, and 96.8% of the households in Miami are not watching it. That's amazing. Even if you include illegal streams and bars, that number's not getting past 10%. Not even close. While in Buffalo, the NLL finals aren't even getting advertised, basically. Like, nobody, if you're not like a diehard Bandits fan, you have no idea that they're playing on the CW. And
Shout out to Banditos podcast.
And then you're talking about the CW. Like, who watches the CW? Like, not many people. I can't even tell you one show that is like a regular
SmackDown used to be on it back in the day.
Back in the day, but that might have been when it was UPN or WB or something like that. Like, so, like, the fact that the Bandits are getting a 4.0 rating and a 3.7, and the Florida Panthers are getting a 3.0 and 3.2, like, I'm not trying to say that there's more Bandits fans. There's obviously not. It's just saying, like, they got similar, like, amount of people watching on television, which is pretty, like, as far as rating point, not volume. But, yeah.
We got 12,000 here tonight.
Those two tweets combined got basically, like, 1.4 million impressions. I've never had my phone buzzing so much in a 24-hour period with hate and everything like that. But I guess let's wrap up a little bit with this deal, and we'll obviously talk about it more on Friday. My final thoughts are this, and I've said it probably 5 times already in this hour and 12 minutes. I am not making a complete evaluation until I know what we're getting back for Byram. Byram is gone. He is not back on this team. And knowing that he's gone, and knowing that it sounds like Samuelsson is going to be back based on what Kevin Adams said the other day, unless he was saying that to try to protect the trade and try to keep his value up. If you're looking at the defense right now and you're saying Dahlin's at the top, and then your second pair is Kesselring and Power, and you have Samuelsson in your third pair, I don't mind having Samuelsson on my third pair. I don't love him, but, like, I can survive with that. Now, Connor Clifton, if he's still on the team, I might have an issue with that. What this kind of tells me is for Byram, they're going to be looking to get the Peterka replacement. Peterka's replacement probably comes back in the Byram deal, or they get whatever they get for Byram and they package it for something to replace Peterka. The only other alternative I could really see is if they really still have outside hope that Jack Quinn has something left. I don't want to, like, Gatesy.
That thought wasn't even in my head, Bunty. I tried to block it out.
Gatesy, I don't want to be, because I know what people are going to react to it. There's still part of me that has, like, a little bit of hope.
Always.
And, like, my thought is this. Okay, we know, and I'm hoping for another top 6 forward. So I'm not saying this is what I want.
I'd rather have one than not. I'll say that.
Yeah, if you assume that McLeod and Zucker are part of your third line, and probably Greenway, and then you make the assumption that you have, because we keep hearing number 2 center. So maybe it's Norris, Thompson, maybe it's Tuck right there. Yeah. Maybe Tuck goes down. Then you have a line that's probably Kulik, Benson. Is Quinn on that line? Do you want to put those 3 on a line together and call it the new kid line? Like, Quinn still stays on the kid line, but it's Kulik and Benson? Or do you –
it's like that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle meme with, like
the other scenario is this. You end up having Kulik and Benson, and you stick them with Thompson, which you did at the end of the season. You could have Norris on your second line. Maybe you have Tuck with him or with Quinn, or you could put Quinn on the third line with Zucker and McLeod, and then you move Greenway down to the fourth line. There's a couple different ways you can do this. What I'll say is this: if Quinn has a bounce back year, then that does change things up quite a bit here. Like,
well, it's a double-edged sword, Bunty. If we get rid of guys, they're going to have their career year, but if they stay here, they're going to be the worst player that's ever happened. Yeah.
So Quinn will have a career year, and then we'll trade him, and then everybody will say that they always believed in Quinn and that the Sabres finally developed him, and that they're trading him for a number 3 right-hand D to replace whoever in the lineup at that point. Let's be real. We went into the offseason knowing that there was a forward that likely had to get moved.
Yes.
Just assumed it would be numbers wise, they had more than, and now you get Doan in the picture. So now you have Doan, I'm assuming Malenstein. Is it now Doan, Malenstein, Krebs? Is Doan a start? Is he going to be on the 4th line on this?
I'm a Kozak guy through and through. So like the Sabres have so many guys that can fill that 4th spot, but like Jack Quinn is the perennial, like, what the hell do you do with him? Everyone else you can kind of piece into a spot, but it's like, he's going to be an RFA. So what's the contract going to look like?
By the way, I love this Clearview camera solution.
Yeah, I was going to give him a shout out.
I love Pagula. Great guy.
From minute one.
It's just proof you make the most ridiculous comments and you will get airtime on the Crossing Swords podcast. My buddy Alex just texted me. He's like, Sabres fans pissing me off. It just comes with the territory. Like, here's the thing. And this is just keeping it real. Even if the Sabres were good, some of you guys would hate on everything they do. Like, I remember when the Sabres were good. The Bills are good and people hate on half the shit that they do. So, like, I'm not going to pretend like some of you guys are like, like a lot of people have reasons to be legitimately upset. Like, this trade, I understand if people hate it. But some of you guys would have hated it even if we got, like, Connor McDavid back. You'd be like, oh, Connor McDavid, but how is he going to like playing in Buffalo? Is he going to sign an extension? I don't know.
Game 7 Stanley Cup Finals. Is he going to be the guy? I don't know.
Am I Pagula's stepson? You know what, dude? I wish I was Pagula's stepson, because if I was Pagula's stepson, instead of being on the stream right now, I would probably have millions of dollars on a yacht somewhere in some Caribbean island, loving my life, not having to, like, work for a living. So, hey, Clearview, I love you, man. I love your commenting. I do want to say this, dude, Christopher. I see you commenting on YouTube, and I don't want to, like, take over all this.
No, I'm just throwing them up just because.
Be keeping quiet, Chris. I hate to say it to you. We talk about culture. You can't establish the culture by letting a person like Tuck leave. Tuck is going to get probably a 5-year deal, probably $9 million per. Like,
how old is Tuck? Is he?
He's 29.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know why. Tuck has been a discount player on the Sabres for a long time now. He's a guy that has had 35-plus goals twice. You know what, Clearview? You're the culture. You're the culture.
This is a Clearview Camera Solutions podcast.
I need to talk to Clearview because
he's our big guest for Friday.
As a former TV guy and someone that still does a lot of, like, my own video production stuff, I might need to talk to him about how I can, like, what type of cameras I need to be getting involved in and what type of lenses I need to start getting.
That's a good point.
So
I got a little fog going on mine.
This is how you network, Gatesy. I know you're.
People think we're here for the views or to sell our great Trainwreck Sports hats that you can use at Etsy. Finding a Trainwreck Sports, use code CSPod for 10% off. Anyway, back to you, Bunty.
Yeah, but it's just one of those things, man, where no matter what they did tonight, we were going to be upset. Going back on the Tuck thing, I get it. Does culture exist with him? I think it does. I really do believe with Tuck, culture exists. He's a guy from Syracuse that grew up a Sabres fan that I legitimately believe wants to be part of this organization despite all the shit that goes on in it. Obviously, the Sabres aren't a Hallmark story. I agree with you on that. You could have – there was aspects of positive culture when Tuck first came to Buffalo, and that's when they had their best season of the drought with the 91 points. Now, where do I think things went wrong? I think when they had that 91-point season, they needed to build on it. They needed to bring in more veterans. They needed to capitalize off of what they were building. And what happened is they gave too much these comments. But they put too much of my youth baseball career is nothing to reminisce about. In fact, I'm glad that I have very few memories from that period of time. But it's one of those things where if the Sabres would have capitalized off of that 91-point season and brought in talented veterans, I think they would have saved themselves from a lot of what they ended up becoming. They invested too much in Quinn, Cousins, Peterka at that time. They thought that line was going to carry them into the future. And it was not what they expected it to. Steven, unfortunately, like I said, my memory's gone. So I'm glad you have memories of it still. Probably me striking out a lot and making errors, but baseball was never my go-to sport. So luckily, I found bowling later in my life. But with Tuck going forward, I think he's paramount to keeping guys like Thompson and Dahlin on the same page. You let him go, how are you going to sell to them that you are serious about winning? Because even though right now we can laugh, like 14-year playoff drought, who are you selling a winning culture to? They still have to convince the guys in that locker room that they're at least trying to compete. And Tuck, I think, is an essential piece of that. You're talking about a guy with, like I said, 36 goals this past year. He was a good return in that Eichel trade. You look back at that Eichel trade to get Tuck.
And where they were too, situationally, backs against the wall. Like
that ended up being as good as they probably could have hoped, given that circumstance. We'll see. I'm looking at this team, and I like the talent on this squad. My question is, can they play winning hockey? To me, winning hockey isn't putting up 1 million points, meaning like goal scoring and lighting up the scoreboard. It's when you have a 1-goal lead with 2 minutes left, can you hold on? Can you clear the puck out of your zone? Can you ice it and find the empty net? When you are in a tie game in the third period and teams are pressuring you, can you clear the puck out of your zone? Can you come back in a tight game? Can you find a way to force overtime when you've been struggling the whole night, but you're down a goal with a minute left? Like, too many times, situational hockey is what really kills the Sabres. I need them to really take their game to that next level where it's not about what is best for player A, player B. It's what is best for the team. And that is why I think there was a lot of issues with the team when Lindy Ruff took over, because I think they went from a very soft culture where Granato was very flexible and forgiving and allowing players to do pretty much whatever they wanted to do on the ice without consequence, to Ruff trying to hold them a little bit more accountable. And where do you find that middle ground? Because let's be real, Ralph Kruger sucked. Ralph Kruger killed Jeff Skinner. Granato brings Skinner back. So you need to find that middle ground, and they just have not had it. They've had one extreme, then the next extreme. They need to find that middle ground where they can let the players have the flexibility to do what they need to do, but still held accountable, because we cannot let the defensive lapses happen. And we always blame it on the defensemen. I think a lot of the Sabres' defensive problems are not just their defensemen. I think it's a lot of it based on their forwards being lazy, their forwards not getting back, their forwards turning over the puck consistently. Like, what was Dylan Cousins known for? Turning the puck over. What does Tage Thompson do a ton? Turn the puck over. You have a lot of forwards that are sloppy with the puck, and it puts them in bad situations. It creates odd man rushes, and it puts your goalies in tough spots. And our goalies routinely have not stepped up in those situations. So I think what the Sabres are basically going for, as I've alluded earlier on the show, I think they want a more defensively responsible forward group. They want a better overall defensive group, and they're hoping that will end up resulting in better goaltending and enough defensive improvement to where if they can still score 250 plus a year, it can get them in a position to at least contend for a playoff spot and maybe qualify for a wild card.
100%. I think the big thing, at least I'm looking at now, is obviously, you have some trades on the horizon. Would that be, Byram? But also, all the talk online has been, the Sabres aren't spending the cap. They buy Skinner out. They don't use any of that cap money this year. I just want to see an inkling of that being used. Even, the Peterka thing is, you want to know and believe that's outside of those reasons. But you have a young guy whose contract's up. You don't pay it. Like, optically, it just can't get worse for this fan base, and ownership has done a terrible job, in my opinion, of just, letting fans just know they care in that capacity, which I think is a fair take. obviously, just based on the 14 years. You see other, teams putting out a lot of stuff after just missing the playoffs for the first time. But, something of just seeing life as a fan at least means something in that regard. But yeah, I want to see what they do free agency wise. Are they going to spend? How much will they spend? But yeah, I want to give a quick shout out before I wrap things up for all the incredible people, made some great friends tonight. Bunty, obviously Christopher, Josh Mooney, a solid, ad here every time. Joseph, our favorite man, Clearview Camera Solutions.
Those are my two favorite tonight. Clearview Camera Solutions and Joseph.
T-Mac, I think Joseph, Dominic, a ton of names, over 12,000 people here tonight. And
I mean, that's nothing better than an anonymous account on YouTube or Twitter with friendly comments throughout a show. That I really do appreciate the two of them. So great job tonight. Bunt, you're the problem. I love it. I love it. I'm sure that let's just tell them that and then we can fix it.
Yeah. I mean, obviously tough times all around there. Bunty, we have a big show on Friday. To everyone still kicking here, almost 1 a.m. on, I guess it's now a Thursday in June. 2,000 degrees in my apartment right now. Before we do sign off, of course, you think the Sabres are a train wreck. We have our great Train Wreck Sports Etsy page. Use code CSPOD for 10% off. Help myself and Bunty out. I wish he's a pen for life, unfortunately. We have this hat. We have a ton of other great merch. Use code CSPOD. That is CSPOD for 10% off and help out, the Positivity Podcast. As always, we have a big show this Friday, 6:30. Preview some Sabre stuff, maybe some Byram news, talk about the draft. Load up, it's going to be a great time. Obviously, what kind of echo what Bunt said on the trade itself. Anyone could, sit here and yell from the rooftops, this is going to be terrible, or this is the greatest thing ever. Really, the fact we have to wait. We're going to see what happens on the ice. I am firmly in the camp, though, that we wanted a D partner for Owen Power. We did that. I think, this could be a situation that, isn't the sexiest right now, but you're going to see those results. You're going to see Power take that step, hopefully. You see the Sabres shore up a lot defensively on top of that. Shout out T-Mac for buying the hat. We got a ton of great stuff there. And Bunty, do you have one last thought before we wrap things up as we inch?
I'm just hoping we get a Byram trade tomorrow so we can have another emergency podcast.
Yeah, I mean, maybe like 8 o'clock.
Yeah, and then by time Friday gets here, we don't even need to talk about the draft. We'll already have all of our reactions out. And
we don't even need to do a Friday show anymore. We'll trade all of our draft picks.
Cancel the Friday show. Enjoy the start to the weekend. But let's be real. We're still going to have a lot to talk about.
You agree with this?
Going to be so much. And then regardless of Byram almost has to go in the next couple of days when you think about it.
It's guaranteed.
Somebody offer sheets him. The Sabres are not going to be in a position to match that deal. And then you're just forced to take whatever you can get. So I think Byram realistically has to happen before Tuesday, in my opinion. Most likely the next 2 days makes the most sense. And then we'll have a good idea of what the Sabres will be looking like going into free agency. Yes. And at that point, what do they do at 9? Do they end up getting a guy that has some talent like a McQueen or the other defenseman? I don't know how you pronounce it. Merka. Yeah. Those would be solid options for development going forward. In free agency right now, they have a lot of money. They have a lot of options in front of them. Now that Peterka is out of the way and you really didn't bring back a ton of salary on their end, you probably now have more flexibility than what you would have thought.
2 scoreboards.
Hey, I'll take another scoreboard.
I like this.
We'll do another episode in the future about the renovations that are going to eventually happen. I know that hasn't been something that people have really discussed, but believe me,
yes,
they're happening.
They're needed. And I know you have a lot of insight on that as well. Ton of fun, ton of possibilities this Friday. Sabres at 9. Do they even keep the pick? We'll find out as we go along. Bunty, I want to thank you for joining, running into the house when you saw the text about this, jumping on, talking for an hour and a half about the Peterka trade, the Sabres' future. and the over 12,000 people that happened to stop by tonight. Of course, all the people we thanked earlier, commenting along all night, made this possible. Trainwreck Sports on Etsy, hat, shirt, whatever. Code CSPOD, 10% off. And hey, when in doubt, drill another oil well. Thank you, Mooney. Sleep well, everyone. Is 1 a.m. Bunty, thanks for hopping on. Let me get this final media asset ready. Hey, sleep well, have a good night, because we have a long week ahead.